Man, what's up, y'all? We back at it again. Another episode of AtYourLeisure229. You already know who I got with me today. It's my little bro right here, my little carnal, Jon. Say what up to him, Jon.
What's going on, everybody? Thanks for
Yeah,
having me on.
you already know. Now, dude, you're gonna think I'm crazy, but pronounce your last name for me. I'm sorry.
Otano.
Otano.
But if we were going to like Hispanic, it'd be Otano.
Yeah, okay, because
Yeah,
people ask me sometimes, they'll be like, how do you say his last name? And I say Otano. That's what
yeah,
I tell them.
that's the proper way.
So,
But yeah, so I got cousins. I don't really know them, but they actually spell it with the Enya, which is the actual
right,
the letter.
right.
But yeah, nah, I guess we went Americanized.
Yeah,
So
been Americanized hanging out over here for a while now, yeah. Well, you've been here your whole life, right?
yeah. My grandmother was born in Puerto Rico, and she moved to New Jersey for some odd reason. Most people from Puerto Rico end up going up north. Complete climate change. I'm not really
Yeah.
sure why that
No,
is.
no, no. I see that a lot with a lot of Hispanic people, not just Puerto Ricans, like, just people from Central America or Mexico, period. I feel like New York is like their
It
first,
is. It literally.
it's like the landing spot for them or something like that. And I'm like, okay, well, and then they start spreading out,
Yeah. Like there's a spot in the Bronx. It's like little Puerto Rico, like for a couple blocks by Yankee Stadium. It's not. You just see Puerto Rican flags all
Yeah.
throughout it because that's all that's there. I
Yeah,
guess. So.
yeah. There's a girl I know actually that's she's a travel nurse and she is up there in New York. She's a huge Yankee fan, and she was posting the other day on her Instagram story. She was like, "They let me be Puerto Rican for the day." They had the flag on her and all this stuff because she hangs out like in the Bronx, like with like the people that go to the Yankee games. Like
Yeah.
they walk there, they hang out on the streets until the game starts or whatever.
That's funny.
But yeah, man. So let's get into it a little bit. I'm gonna start out first. Don't mean to cut off our conversation, but it's a very important month. This month, June is actually Men's Health Month. That's not just regular health; that includes mental health as well. And it's very important, bring awareness to that because I think part of the problem with people not knowing about like men's mental health or about men's health or about anything that men go through is the fact that people kind of they kind of water it down a little bit. They kind of make it seem like it's not as important because in the past as a man it was just known that it was just known that you were just like the man of the house, so you didn't show emotion. You were a provider, and you were there for support and those kind of things. But emotion was like the last thing that would have came out, I guess. So but it is important though, for you guys to show emotion and so for all the guys out there, help one another out, man. Check on each other. Make sure everybody's doing good. Have those serious talks and those honest conversations, man.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree with you on that completely, man. It's like you said, it's stigmatized. A man is not supposed to show emotion and all this other stuff, but
right.
that's how things go bad, and so I
Yeah.
completely agree with your sentiment on that.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. But so moving on, I want to talk about a little bit about how I actually met Jon, and then we're gonna get into how Jon's life is going. First of all, I met Jon over at Red Robin. Once again, I feel like every person I have on here is somebody that I work with. But hey, let's be honest. We work long weeks. We work long hours, man. We don't have time to go out and meet friends. The people we work with are our friends. So, and I met Jon over at Red Robin in Wilmington. He's actually from the Greenville area, and he was training. We had just became a training store. Actually, we were doing really well back then. Actually, we had a great team, doing really well. Store was running efficiently, and we were breaking records at that time. Wilmington was at least was breaking records, and we became a training store. And Jon was the first manager that trained over there in that training store. So yeah, that's pretty impressive. I mean, I can't remember how old you were or how far out of school you were at that point.
So at that point, I was 23. I was 23. I just re-enrolled back in my master's, so I was freshly back in school. Actually, I remember.
So already had the bachelor's.
I already had my bachelor's. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. And because I only remember that because I remember it was my first semester back in school, So I'd leave Red Robin, go to the hotel, and do homework.
Mm.
So
Yeah, I remember you telling me you were doing homework at that time. So
so, but yeah. So yeah, 23. I think I was the youngest manager in the region at that point in time.
probably were. I wasn't even manager yet, and I was already older than you, anyways. But you probably were the youngest at that time. Um, I can't think of anybody else that was. Whenever I came there, I was the youngest. So and you're younger than me. So yeah, that's wild, dude. Now on the masters, yeah, and you got your masters done. Um, he moved on from Red Robin in Wilmington and went over to Greenville, and that's where you started your management at. And let's see,
Yeah.
what were you a AKM or a
So I started
GM
out. I
right
started
after?
out as a regular assistant manager. About 7 months into it, I want to say. I could be off a couple months, but yeah, I got promoted to AGM.
Right.
Um,
That's what I was. It was not long into it.
no,
Yeah.
no, not
It,
long at
it was
all.
almost already set that you were kind of gonna move into that
Yeah,
role
yeah.
once you got got a couple reps underneath your
I,
belt.
I actually remember training in Wilmington. I texted who the GM was at the time, Kevin, and I said, just want you to know, I'm going to be your AGM.
Yeah.
I'm setting that expectation. I haven't even met the
Yeah.
guy yet, and I set that expectation. I was like, I'm going to be your AGM. So, I went into that mindset when I got there from day one. I was like, how can I get this? Like, I
Yeah.
printed off the
Shout out
checklist.
Kevin, man. Shout out Kevin Arvala, man. Good guy right
Good
there.
dude, good dude.
Still doing good things, man. Proud of you, bro. But yeah, so you went over there. You were AGM for a little bit, hanging out. Still crushing it over there in Greenville. A little bit more of a slow pace for you than in Wilmington, of course.
Definitely.
But still, making things happen. I mean, you guys made that store, and Kevin, they made President's Club.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
I guess you were managing during that time period as well, or
The time period that they used for metrics, I was. But when he officially became, or when the store became President's Club, I was not managing anymore. I was just bartending.
right, right.
So
So moved on from the bartending and hold on. I don't want to get too far ahead.
go ahead, go ahead.
I don't want to get too far ahead. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna dive into the start. Where does Jon come from, and where does the Atonia family originate in, of course, Puerto Rico, but here, where did your roots start? Here, um, aside from my own research that I've done and learned from you, I just know it's in the eastern part of the state. So, tell
Yeah.
me a little bit about your start in North Carolina,
Okay.
and how that went about.
Yeah. So when I was 6, I was about 6. My mom had married my little brother's dad, and he got stationed in Goldsboro, North Carolina, at Seymour Johnson Air Force Base. So that's what brought us over here. While they were together, we lived on base, and they eventually split up. But where I'm from, originally Massachusetts, the city wasn't the safest place. It's definitely not still to this day. So my mom made the decision. It's a slower paced life in North Carolina, particularly in Goldsboro. Um, so she decided that we were gonna stay here. So they split up. We moved off base. And so we kind of started planning our roots here. We were the first people in North Carolina, and since then, I've had cousins, aunts, uncles, all
Right.
that start moving down here because they come visit and they're like, this is a slower lifestyle, but the weather's nice compared to Massachusetts and stuff. So
What age was that for you moving from Mass to here?
I was 6. Yep.
6. So was there much of a like a culture shock or anything like that, or were you just at the age where it was kind of like
Yeah, that's pretty much how it was. I was just like, whatever, I don't care.
right, right,
I think I started kindergarten there, and then moved halfway through the year here and all that. And at that time, when you're that young, you make friends like this nothing, so you don't really
right,
care.
right,
The biggest thing for me is I have a lot of family still there, and at that time, everybody was still Massachusetts and Connecticut area, so that was the biggest thing. Is like, oh, like, I was so used to seeing my dad every other weekend,
right.
and that changed to only seeing him during the summer. Mainly, I'd spend the whole summer break with him, so that was a big adjustment for me. But outside of that, it was like whatever.
Yeah.
Didn't shock me too much, I guess, at the time because I didn't really care, you know. So
Right. Of course, of course. Now you mentioned your dad. What you still still talk to your dad to this day? You know those kind of things.
mhm.
Um, what was it like for him? You know, or what at least did you feel it was like for him? You know, him and your mom not together. You guys moving to a different state.
Mhm.
You know, what were his initial his initial reaction that you can remember of?
Man, I vividly remember because at that time they were not on good terms. You know, not to point fingers at either party, but they were not on good terms. So my dad didn't even know we were moving,
Uh,
and we just moved.
that kind of thing.
So
Okay,
that
okay,
it was bad. And you know, I was there every other weekend,
right.
and but that just kind of was like sprung on him. I think he was. I think, to my knowledge, what I was told was he was supposed to come get me, and found out it was North Carolina. So
Man, that's tough.
that's kind of tough,
Yeah,
right?
that's tough. Yeah.
Uh, but you know, I don't have all the facts regarding that, so I could be wrong one way or
Yeah,
another.
of
But
course, of course, yeah.
I do know that he tried to go to court um, to try and fight it, try to get custody. They didn't work out. Obviously, I stayed with my mom, and you know, most people or most children tend to stay with their mother anyway.
Yeah.
Um, you know, and looking back, I'm glad just because North Carolina was the best opportunity for me. Where the neighborhood that I lived in Massachusetts, you know, it wasn't the best, so there's no telling out of where I'd be in life. I could be the same where I am now, or I could be, you know, in prison somewhere. There's no telling, and
Do
so
you think your dad sees now and sees like
oh
it was the ultimately the best
yeah,
decision?
he's told me, you know, he specified like, you know, I hated it at the time, but North Carolina was the best thing for you, and
Right.
I'm glad that happened. So he, you know, he did come out and say that. He obviously years of getting over the hurt and all that, but you know, seeing where I am now in life and you know and all that, he's admitted. He's like, you know, I'm glad that happened.
You know, and I don't we don't got to get into it, and I don't know what all he was going through at the time when your parents split,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm sure that you as well moving away made him grow as well. Like, made
Yeah,
him look at life a little bit differently, and
I will agree with that because I remember him working. I'm not sure where he was working, but I remember he used to have like two jobs, sometimes three. And then I know one year because he's always cut my hair. My dad was my first barber, right? Or he didn't cut my hair the first time, but he was like my first legitimate barber.
yeah, I think everybody's parents was their first barber.
Right. So
My mom cut my hair when I was little.
yeah. See, so he actually went. He went. You know, while I was after I moved to North Carolina, not shortly after that, went got his barbering license in Connecticut and ended up opening his own barbershop and all this other stuff. So I'm not going to say that that's why, but I feel like there's probably a correlation
Right.
in some way or another that
Yeah.
you know inspired him to go like get that right. So I do definitely think it helped him grow a little bit as well.
Yeah, I'm sure
So
he didn't want to look back and, his son be moved away and people asking his son, "Oh, what's your dad do?" And you're like, "I don't know. Like, my dad's a bum."
yeah, yeah.
So I'm sure he didn't want that. So he went out and, made something of
Mhm.
himself and, created
Yeah, for
something. So
sure.
that's awesome, man. Well, yeah, so getting back into it, we moved down here in North Carolina. Did school down here.
Yep.
Grew up in
Goldsboro.
Goldsboro,
Yep.
Goldsboro area. Also, that's where Jimmy Graham's from.
Yeah.
So
Went to the same high school for 1 year.
yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. But tell me about growing up in Goldsboro because it's a big change from living in Mass and the inner city and going through the struggles that you would have in there. Uh, Growing up in Goldsboro, I will go ahead and say the country.
Basically.
Growing up in the country has also its same struggle or similar struggles. Maybe a little different. But tell me about growing up in Goldsboro and that kind of mindset and how that shaped you who you are today.
Yeah, definitely. So, for those who don't know, there's nothing in Goldsboro. If the base wasn't there, Goldsboro wouldn't exist. I'm
Yeah.
serious. So, over the years, you know, when I first got there, Goldsboro was tiny. Over the years, as the base has expanded, more people have moved to Goldsboro. A lot of people have started retiring in Goldsboro, but particularly where I lived wasn't the most ideal location. Um, I've seen things that kids at a young age probably shouldn't see.
Right.
Fights,
Right.
all that other good stuff. So, and just being in a lower income area, um, that kind of you know that kind of instilled in me at a young age. Like I don't want to live like this when I want to. If my mom working 2 jobs, hustling, and shout out to her because she made it happen. But because she had to make it happen, I was taking care of my little brother.
Yeah.
Which no shame in that. Until his dad was able to be more involved, and his dad ended up taking a major role in his life and my life. Shout out to him too. Uh,
What's his name?
his name's Oscar.
Oscar. Shout out Oscar, man.
To this day, he's a dad to me.
Dads are important, man. Not that you didn't have your dad there, like, and you could call him, talk to him, get advice, but father figures, period. Not just like your actual dad, but a man in your life, coach, teacher, whatever it is. Positive male figures are important for a young man, man. So that's awesome, man. Shout out Oscar.
For real. So yeah, without them, you know, they did what they could, and with the most opportunities. But that, from a young age, I was like, man, I'm gonna make it out of here. I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but
right.
I had every kid when they're young, they want to say some outlandish, desire of what they want to be for their career. For the longest, for me, it was wanted to be an architect, and that was just because it was funny, man. I wanted when I used to get grounded by my mom. The only things I was allowed to do was draw and read, and at the time, I liked drawing. Uh, and I ended up liking to read more, so that ended up not being a punishment anymore. I wasn't allowed to read because to this day I love to read. So, so that's why for the longest I thought that's what I was going to be all the way up until high school. Man, I took drafting classes and would do housing designs on a software on the computer, and I built a mini model of a house. So
yeah,
it gave me inspiration to be like I obviously want something I enjoy, but I want to make money. I want to every kid, at least to my knowledge, wants to take care of their mom one day. So that
yeah,
that's goals.
If you got a good mom in your life, absolutely, man.
Right. So yeah, that's what got because Goldsboro, especially now, at the time it wasn't as bad of a place, but now, man, it's going downhill bad. It's ranked one of the worst places to live in North Carolina, top 5, I think.
Yeah.
So,
And why is that? Is that just crime, violence?
Just
I was gonna say violence in the city. That's how Winston's getting too, man. I mean, when I was home over the weekend, dude. There were like 3 people that got shot in Winston.
Right.
And they were like 2 of them were like under 18 years old.
Yeah.
Like
especially it's definitely the youth most of the time. Yeah.
Yeah. So man, that's crazy. So Goldsboro, I don't know. I've the only time I've ever came to Goldsboro really was to see you. That was it. So I don't really know much about it at all. But man, the crime out there, man, that's getting wild. And what's that? Just more people moving over this area, more like housing going up.
Yeah.
So just
a lot of it's more to credit the city. They're trying to develop the city as much as they can. They're trying to they're building hotels, restaurants, all this other stuff. But the problem is there's not much for the youth, right? So
right.
There literally there's a skater rink and a bowling alley. That's it, right? And so outside of sports and all that,
right.
But so that there's not much for people to do, so they tend to go towards the stuff they shouldn't do. So yeah, and there's a bad drug problem in Goldsboro too, like a lot of heroin and all that. So there's like this area by Walmart, going to Little Woods, is homeless individuals just living there, and most of them have drug issues.
Right.
Unfortunately, and there's been a lot of like meth labs shut down in Goldsboro. So it's just all that stuff combining together. I'm sure it's contributing to the violence and the undesirable nature of wanting to live there. So what you'll see is like where people want to live in the city, they're pushing out more to where like it's still Goldsboro, but it's like borderline another city now because they're getting further away. So
right. Wow. Man, that's crazy, dude. Well, so tell me about you. You said you went to the same high school as Jimmy Graham. What was the name of the high school?
Eastern Wayne High School. Yep.
Say it again.
Eastern Wayne.
Eastern Wayne.
Eastern. Yep.
Eastern Wayne High School. Yep. Okay.
He went there, I think, his freshman year. We had another guy that made it to the NFL, Manny Lawson.
Okay.
Played for the Buffalo Bills for a couple years. I think he went somewhere else too. 49ers. I think it was 49ers and then the Buffalo Bills. So yeah, that's about our only claim to fame, honestly. So.
Yeah. Well, so graduating out of Eastern Wayne, and tell me, you wanted to go to East Carolina. Was that always on the table, or was there other options that you had?
So I'm a big procrastinator. Unfortunately, that's just a bad trait that I have. So when it came time to apply for colleges, I only applied to East Carolina. Keep
Right.
it honest. But I knew I wanted to stay somewhere close. I borderline thought about going up north to Yukon or something like that, just because I would be close to the rest of my family. But out of state tuition, especially up north, is insane.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
1 year, I would have paid what I paid for my bachelor's in North Carolina.
Wow. For
So
the whole four
yeah,
years, or wow.
so that quickly was out of the option, and I was like, I want to stay somewhere close to home. East Carolina is 45 minutes from Goldsboro. Um, so I was like, what, that's what I'm gonna do. So and I didn't apply. I don't recommend that for any young individuals who are in high school potentially watching. Definitely apply to as many as you can. Because that if I didn't get in, I was screwed. Now I was fairly confident I was going to get in just because of my high school grades, but you never know, right? So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
shouldn't have took that approach. I don't think my mom knows that's the only college I applied to either, but it doesn't matter.
She's happy.
Yeah,
Like,
I got in, man.
you got in somewhere.
So yeah, that's how I ended up at ECU. I think I originally wanted to be a nurse. Um, it just felt, growing up, there's a whole story, but what drew me to nursing was the ability to help people.
Hmm.
Um, just seeing, the stuff that I saw in life, and the own struggles that my mom overcame in regards to, at one point being an alcoholic and obese, to now she's in the gym 6 days a week, fit, teaches classes, so
Yeah.
that's what
Yeah.
originally led me down that path, to ECU as nursing. They didn't end up with nursing degree.
Right.
Being a college was a culture shock. Let's say that, for me. High school was, I didn't study made A's.
Hmm.
So I thought I could do the same thing in college. That didn't happen. You know what I mean? So
Right.
that backfired pretty quickly. So my first year and a half in college was pretty rough. I was so I you know had to have a conversation with myself. All right,
Yeah.
I need to
Yeah.
buckle down. I'm
Had to
wasting money
double
at
down
this
on
point. So change majors. I ended up going to athletic training. I was like, I love being in the sports world. That's my thing. I'm a big sports fan. Um, so
every sport. Yeah.
yeah, so I was like, athletic trainers, for anybody who doesn't know, they're the ones, when a player gets hurt, they're the ones that run out onto the field to treat the players. So I got admitted into that program. Was doing that. I did it for a year, and then I had a conversation with the director of that program. And at the time, I was working two jobs. I've worked two jobs since I was basically 16. Um, and I had my own car payment, and I paid for my own apartment stuff. And she was like, "Look, if you want to be in this program, you can't work. You're not gonna have time to."
Hmm.
I was like, "I can't be in this program. I got bills to pay. I don't have, the luxury, of somebody being able to pay for my stuff. I had to make it on my own, so I had to change again. So I ended up changing to what I graduated in, which was health fitness specialist, and that's basically just personal training and that kind of stuff. So I graduated with that. Did that for 6 months or so, at the hospital in Greenville. At the time, it was called Vidant, and I worked in their wellness center, trained a couple people. Was doing that. Really, really enjoyed it, but I didn't get enough hours. Man, I was getting less than 20 hours a week, so I was again working two jobs. I was working as a server at Red Robin,
Mm.
and it was hard to work there because the hours I was working at Vidant was split days. So I was working in the morning and the evening, and there's no shift like that really that allows for that at Red Robin. So
Yeah. Exactly.
I had to make a business decision like, hey man, something's got to go. I gotta reevaluate because I can't pay my bills.
Right. Right.
So that led me to taking a sales job for a year, which that's when I decided I'm going to go back and get my master's, figure out what else I'm going to do, and that's during that time when I took the job at Red Robin. So that's what led me all the way. That's how all that kind of tied together.
Right.
So
Nice. Nice. So you go over there. You graduate from ECU, and didn't want to be a nurse, or you did want to be a nurse, just didn't work out in your favor. But I guess it's just working out in your favor better to marry a nurse.
yeah,
I would say, right?
Yeah.
So, You know, he got a really good fiance. Her name's Hope.
Yep.
Tell me about when you met Hope. Was that during college as well, or are we talking high school days
So
right here?
I was in college. I think I was a freshman in college, and she was finishing up high school. Um, but we actually met at a place in Goldsboro called McCall's. Great food. Terrible place to work. But anyways, that doesn't matter. They were good to me. I worked there 6 years, but
So you met at work.
we met at work. We worked together, and so that's how we met. And it's funny because we have a disagreement of who shot their shot.
Ah, who
So,
was it? Who in your?
In my eyes, it was her. Okay, so let's check this out. So the first time, I guess she had seen me. Maybe I was like leaving or something like that. So I hadn't really talked to her. So she had noticed me, but then I guess the first time I actually spoke to her, we were working together on a shift, and we spoke. I'm a jokester. I talk a lot of junk. So it doesn't matter who you are. You're not safe. I don't care if you're manager.
Yeah, nah, not safe.
Everybody's getting it. So
everybody's getting roasted.
so I'm pretty sure I was cracking a joke on her or something, and don't even know her name at that point, right? So um, that night we get off work, she follows me on Instagram. As a guy,
that's a move.
Like,
that's a move.
Right?
That's a move. Yeah, that's a move.
So I messaged her. So in her eyes, well, you messaged me first. Yeah,
nah,
but you looked me up and followed me.
Exactly.
Right? So
exactly.
So that's how I took it. So yeah, that's how we ended up. Kind of, we talked. It was nothing serious. Just casual hanging out and stuff. It didn't really get serious till maybe 2 years later, honestly. But yeah, so that's kind of how we met, and then kind of stayed friends for a little while, and talked or whatever, hung out. And eventually it grew into now I'm gonna marry her, right? So
yeah,
yeah, that's how that happened.
Yeah, so John's actually getting married. Have you guys announced the date? Or
we have not yet announced the date.
To be announced, folks. To be
2025.
announced.
We know that.
Yeah, to be announced. He proposed on New Year's, right?
I know. I proposed on right before Christmas.
Okay, my bad. I thought it was New Year's.
Yeah, no, it was right before Christmas. We went up north to New York, so Hope has never really traveled growing up. Like, she would travel here and there, maybe for a softball tournament or cheerleading or something like that. But like when we got together, my family's always kind of traveled to the best of our ability. So I kind of exposed her to that a little bit, right? So
yeah.
First time I took her to New York, everybody has this interest with New York and just
I never been.
Life, right? So she had never been. I was like, I'm gonna take you to New York. It's a culture shock for you for real.
Yeah. Especially from here.
Yeah, like, she's born and raised North Carolina, barely been outside the state. So I was like, I'm gonna let you see the different lifestyle, right?
Yeah.
Got to New York, fell in love.
Really?
Absolutely fell in love. Like that's her dream place. She can see a video of it and be like, oh, I wish I was there right now.
Oh man.
And so those wheels started turning, and for me, she's her parents are high school sweethearts and all that, so she's used to her family getting married at a young age.
Right.
For me, I've seen a lot of things go wrong in relationships, and so that made me apprehensive to getting married. To be quite frank, but she, and I let her know that at the beginning, and she told me where her expectations were.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to resolve those, but she opened my eyes up to get married. She's the one for sure. She's done a lot for me, and she's stuck it out through the hard times for sure. So when the not ultimatum, but the deal we had is like, you're about to graduate, you get that ring. Because I at this point, like, I had got myself a little bit established, and I want to make sure that she can support herself. My mindset was like, I know I can take care of myself, but I don't want something to happen to me. You can't support yourself.
Right. That's for you to push, your significant other like that. That's really, really good. Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome.
So that when I knew she was crossing that finish line, I was like, all right, it's time to start playing this.
Yeah.
And so I knew, I was like, well, her favorite place in the world is New York, so I got to figure out how to make. And then New York Christmas is her favorite holiday, so I was like, New York at Christmas time. There's no better way to make that happen, right? So,
yeah.
I had been planning it for months. She had no idea. It was funny how it happened. I bought the ring. I let her pick out her ring. We designed it. I was like, okay, cool. And I was like, I'll start making payments on it because it's not cheap. So I don't expect the ring anytime soon. I went ahead and just bought it. She didn't know that. We
Yeah.
designed it. I got it in like October. So then I was like, all right, I really need to start playing this. So there's a place in New York called Top of the Rock, and that's where I did it at. So when you think of New York, it's the Empire State, right? So
Yeah.
and I was like, I need to make this memorable, so you can look at this proposal and be like, that was New York. So I was like, okay, I have to have the Empire State Building in the background, right? It's New York, right?
That's when you think of New York, you think of that,
right? So that's what I did. Top of the Rock there's a spot on a balcony in the observatory. I don't remember. I think it's 86th floor or something like that. But in the background is the Empire State Building.
Mm-hmm.
So I paid a photographer. I got all my family out there. I was trying to throw her off as much as I could. We were actually 2 hours late of when we were supposed to go in the observatory because of traffic in New York. It was insane.
The photographer was still good with it, though?
Yeah, surprisingly. I felt so bad, man. I left her a very good tip because I was like, dude, you're a real one.
Real.
So I had my brother-in-law keep the ring on him. Like, when I bought it, they came for Thanksgiving. I gave him the ring then. I said, keep it at your house in Massachusetts. So that way she can't find it. Because I know she's snooping.
Yeah.
Come to find out she was. She looked at the car. But, so he had it in his backpack. He stayed last in line because he knew it was going to set off the metal detector. So we go all the way through. We're walking down the hall. I look back. He's getting searched because the ring had set it off. My fiance is not, the most observant person. She'll admit it. So she didn't realize it. But the photographer came in with us. And so we're going through. There's a spot on Top of the Rock where they take pictures of you. And they put it it's a green screen. They put something in the background.
Yeah.
The photographer walks past us. I guess that's when Hope noticed her. But kept it moving because everybody has cameras.
Yeah.
What made Hope suspicious was when we got finished and we went to get in the elevators to go upstairs, the girl was behind us again. So Hope was like, I thought this girl went past. But she didn't say anything, so whatever, kept it moving. And what really threw her off is when we'd stop to look at something, and this is my fault, I should have thought that better, I shouldn't have stopped. But when we would stop and look at something, the girl would stop. And so,
yeah, you should have kept it moving,
yeah,
John.
But we got to that spot. I had my mom call her parents, put it on FaceTime. Her dad knew it was coming because I asked for his blessing.
Only the right thing to do.
6 months in advance. He's been known it's coming. He just didn't know when and where. Her mom had no idea. So we FaceTime. My mom FaceTimed them. And what I do is like, hey, hope you want to take a picture with the Empire State in the background. So, of course we did. I'm like, oh wait, there's one more thing, and that's when I pulled the ring out and got down and did it. Going into it, I thought I was gonna be very nervous, and I wasn't. Surprisingly, was I don't know if it was just too cold up there that I was numb. I don't know, but got in the moment and just did it. So we got that on camera. We got some good pictures. Walked around Rockefeller Center and got some pictures around it. So it was good stuff.
Nice, and she was surprised. Yeah.
Yeah. Even still, even with her getting suspicious, she was still surprised. She had no idea that it was coming because I told very little people. I told the people that were going to be there.
Yeah.
Outside of that, nobody.
I don't think you even told me. Yeah, I don't think so. I think, nah. Nah, you didn't even tell me.
I was not taking
I seen it.
chance.
I think I seen it on Facebook. Yeah. I think, and I was like, I went to Haley. I was like, I think John just proposed.
Yeah, man, I had to be. She was asking everybody, do you know when? Do you know when? She had a feeling because she knew she was finishing school.
Right.
So she knew, but she didn't know. So I just tried to keep it as low key as possible, and it worked out. It was a good time.
Nice.
So we got memories. Then she never stayed the night in New York. So I had, in addition to planning all that, I booked us a hotel room for 2 nights. So we got to live in the city, so to speak, for a little bit, and we got to ride the subway and all this other stuff. We got to experience it.
Yeah, that's really cool, man. That's actually really cool. I mean, those are the things that you go to New York. That's what you want to experience, the New York way or whatever. That's really cool, dude. So then you're engaged, but then we missed a very big part that happened in between all of this. John actually is a dad now.
Yeah.
Just so everyone knows, Father's Day is on the way. Thought I'd bring that up. But John's a dad now. They have 2 kids. And what is your daughter's name?
My daughter's name is Tinsley.
Tinsley.
Yes.
Okay, and then you have a son as well that was just born
in March.
March. Okay, I can't remember days.
Yep.
Sorry. Born in March, and his name is.
His name is Elijah.
Elijah.
If you ask his mom, his name is Eli. But whatever.
We'll figure that out later. We'll figure that out later.
His birth certificate says Elijah. Okay, so that's all that matters.
Listen, Elijah, I'm sorry. I'm gonna call you Elijah your entire life because I'm not calling you after Eli Manning. It's not
exactly.
happening.
That's
it's not
what I
happening.
said.
I'm sorry.
Same thing I said. But I have my own.
Elijah's a beautiful name. So, but yeah, Elijah, cute little guy. And tell me this, Jon. I know you're gonna say excitement, but when it sunk in that you were gonna be a dad, when you figured it out, like all the excitement's gone away, and you're sitting there by yourself, and you're like, I'm about to have a little me. What was your initial feeling, or reaction, or thoughts?
The best way I can describe it is even further excitement. But the best way is when your team scores a touchdown. The first thing you're saying is "Let's go."
Yeah.
Right. that was it for me. Right? Like,
I think that was my response when you told me that she was pregnant. I was like, "Let's go."
And honestly, we didn't try long. I think we tried 3 weeks and
yeah,
fast, and it worked out great. Because just so people understand a little bit, because it might be a little confusing. So yes, I have a daughter. It's my stepdaughter, or my soon-to-be stepdaughter, but I call her. She's my daughter.
Yeah.
So
yeah. That's why I said it
exactly.
as well.
So I've been there since day one. So, but obviously, if you looked at her, you'd be like, "It's not your daughter." I've had, you know how many looks I've gotten. Like,
yeah,
I'd be like,
sure.
"This is my daughter." They're looking at me like they don't say anything, but they're like, "You need a DNA test, bro."
Yeah.
So, but no matter what, that's my day one right there. So, but there's something a little bit different when they got your last name, right?
Right.
So.
Right.
Yeah. So I would just say that's the best way to describe it. Let's go.
Like,
Can't wait.
And I mean, you're not that you've already were a father to her before, mm-hmm. but you aren't that deep into the fatherhood of Elijah because he's just born in March. So I will say this though, what is to you, what is fatherhood like at this point in time? And then I guess I'll check back with you in like 3 months and ask that question again.
Dude, man, honestly, what everybody says, the worst part is the sleep. Especially the first couple weeks. He really doesn't like to sleep. He'll fight it as much as he can. He's 3.5 months old, and he gets up about twice a night on a good night. There's times where he just 5 o'clock comes and he's up every hour, and we don't know why.
Oh,
so
early riser, man.
Yeah, that's not good for me. So, because that's usually me and her try to take shifts, so we alternate. Who gets up. So, at minimum, we can get a 4-hour stretch each. So that part works out. But yeah, that part sucks until you go in there, he's crying, you pick him up, and he smiles at you. And it's like, why am I even mad?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
yeah.
You got a little smile earlier.
Yeah, he smiled right at me when I came in. So
there's nothing like that. It's like I'm not even mad anymore. Like, all right, let's eat. You smiled at me,
That's like, man. It's like I told my sister when I was home recently. My nephew's like running all around, yelling and everything because he can walk now, and she's like, he just gets into everything, and I was like, don't bring him to my house because he can do whatever he wants. They don't. My niece and my nephew don't do any wrong when they're around me. So
that's basically how my sister I know is gonna be. My mom's already like that. It's like, oh no, they're fine. I was like, well, where was that energy when I was little?
Dude, oh my gosh. My mom is with my nephew. Oh my god, she spoils them kids rotten, dude. Like my niece gets, when she asks for it, any Jordan. Bro, I went to her room while I was there. She's got dunks just lined up. And I mean, I thought it was going to be like, 1 or 2 pair. Nah, dude, she's got every dunk that I've ever looked at online that I've wanted. They're underneath her bed. And I'm
That's
like,
funny.
Highs and lows. And I'm like, dude, what? And all she has to do is say it. And, either her mom or my mom will get it for her,
It's crazy.
So, I mean, that's how it is. Spoiling the babies, man, giving them the things we weren't able to have,
Right.
So, well, I want to get into it before we end, of course, because we got caught up talking a little bit about family and things like that. Just because I love talking about family, yours, mine, everyone's family. Family means the most to me in this life.
For sure.
There's nothing there will never be anything that ever is more important than family to me. But I do want to talk about where you are now. Because clearly not. Are you still doing Red Robin?
Yeah, I went back.
Okay, okay. Well, but clearly not only
Yeah, that's
doing
not
Red
my that's not
Robin.
my that's my
That's
little
not
side
your.
piece.
Yeah, yeah. That's the that. That's a little walking around money for us. That's when daddy needs some new Gator boots. You know what I mean? So tell me a little bit about what you're getting into though. I see you working first of all, every time I see him, he's working. He's on the phone. He's on the computer, whatever it is. He came and helped me count inventory and Red Robin whenever was the only manager there. Whole time we're counting, my man's working at his other job too. I'm like, man, this man don't stop working, man. Like, but I see why though, because I see you folks don't see it at home, but the things we're surrounded by, the toys he has that he likes to keep up. He has a family that he also likes to keep up and likes him to have the best things in life. So I see why you never stop working. But tell me a little bit about the work that you do outside of Red Robin.
Yeah. So I work for a software company. Well, I say software just because that's the side of the company I'm in. They do a lot of different things. But I'm a product manager, a technical product manager. So basically, what my job entails is think of an application that you may use every day. Let's say Facebook, because that's just easy. Um, there's people who write out the features of Facebook. Posting a picture. Messenger. All these are features of the
Mm-hmm.
application, right? Well, somebody has to design those features to say what those features are supposed to look like, how they're supposed to function. So that's what I do, right? I write out feature specifications, and
Now, is
basically,
this the same thing as coding, or am I incorrect?
no. So that's where a lot of people get mixed up. I actually kind of tell the coders what to develop,
Okay.
right? So they make all the magic. They do the hard work. I will stand by that to the day I die. They do all the hard. They make the magic happen. But what I do is I'm like, hey, they don't understand. Not they don't understand, but they don't necessarily know the business value of the things, right? Because I talk to customers, um, and I talk to a bunch of different other teams, like our design team, sales team, and all this. They don't they code.
Mm.
So I have more of business value knowledge. So that's why I write the features because I know what should happen. Why do we need this feature? This will impact sales here or whatever, right? So I write out the feature, how it should function, how people should interact with it, what it should look like, and then they make the magic happen. So that's what my job is. So, if something isn't coded right or, something doesn't hit a deadline, ultimately it could have been their work, but it's on me because I own that, right? Like
Right.
that's my responsibility. I should have figured it out somehow.
Almost like you're a manager to the
Basically,
coders.
right, yeah.
Right.
So that's where I guess you get the product manager name. It's because I'm managing different aspects and different teams
Mm-hmm.
to get what I need done.
Right.
And with every company, it's a growing job, with tech companies, because they realize the need for it. But with every company, that job looks a little bit different, and where they're focused in. That's just happened to be, what I'm doing right now.
Right.
Um,
With a good company, right?
yeah, they're very big. They're a national company called Walters Kluwer. They do a lot in every company or in every country that I know of. So yeah, they have a very big presence. 20,000 employees. I mean, there's obviously way bigger companies, but that's a pretty substantial size company. So
Yeah. Spread across like almost all the countries,
yeah,
or near all the countries at least.
mm-hmm. Like their headquarters, I think, is in the Netherlands, something like that. So
Oh
that's
wow.
where like
Okay.
they originated. So they got Canada team, U.S. team.
Now, is there
All that.
when you're doing the work? I see you on the chat. I see you like talking and stuff like that. Is there a language barrier between
No,
ever for you?
no. So my development team happens to be based in India. So when I first a previous job internship kind of thing that I was doing, that was my first time working with an offshore team, is what we call them. And for me, at first, it was a language barrier, but not so much on their end. They understood me fine because they grow up. They know that they're most of the time going to work with the U.S. market in some way, shape, or form. I had to just get used to their dialect,
Mm-hmm.
right, or their accent. Um, and now I understand them no problem.
Right.
My fiance might be listening to a call and be like, "What do you say?" But
Yeah.
it's just one of those things. You adapt and you grow.
You work with
to
them
it.
all, all day. I mean, it's like you go back to Puerto Rico. You sit like I seen the video the other day of the kid. He's like 1 week in Puerto Rico, right? Like you're there long enough, you just start to adapt to,
Yeah.
and you work with somebody long enough, you just start to understand and hear what they're saying.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, that sounds remember that's really good. I'm assuming that's it's not something that I've ever really like looked into or thought would be beneficial for me, but I'm assuming it's been very beneficial for you.
Yeah, man, it's treating me
Um,
good, definitely.
and does it comes easy to you?
Yeah, tech has always been something that I've been really interested in, and actually, one of my best friends is the reason I got into this job field.
Mhm.
He went to ECU for computer science, and that's how he kind of learned about the job. And I saw him; he was working for a huge company called IBM, and that's where I kind of got exposed to product management and kind of figuring out what he was doing. And so that I was like, that seems interesting. Like
Yeah,
I
yeah,
really, so because of that, that's what got my interest into it. And it's a pretty hard field to break into, just because a lot of people, like with other jobs, want experience, either internship or something else. So you just have to keep chipping away at it, and eventually I broke through and I got to where I am now. And I've been here a year and a couple months, and it's been good, man. I wouldn't trade it.
yeah. I mean, it's from what I see, it's been very beneficial for you as far as like hoping and finishing up school,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have the baby as well.
Mm-hmm.
You're able to work remotely, and it just works out for you
Yeah,
guys. Yeah,
definitely. Um, when she was, she just finished school, but when she was in school and she had just given birth, I was with him all day at home. But
yeah.
because I work remote, it works out. I don't have to pay for daycare right now.
Which is insane
Yeah,
right now.
yeah.
Please, I don't know who is ahead of that, or I don't know if that's is that governor or who helps us out with that in our state. Please help these parents with affordable daycare because it's insane.
Yeah.
Like it really is. So
And to your point with that, he was supposed to start next week. Um, because as he gets bigger and he becomes more active, I want him to be getting the attention that he deserves. But when I have meetings and stuff, I feel bad just leaving him in the other room if he's awake. But sometimes I don't have a choice because I don't want him to cry while I'm in a meeting talking. So,
right.
but because daycare's like so expensive, he's supposed to start next week. I was like, well, I don't hope you know. Just as a side note, she starts work next week, and so I was like, why don't we let her get a couple paychecks in, and I'll deal with it. I'll figure it out for 2 more months. So that way we have that extra income. So that daycare is a
Yeah.
little bit easier to
Once
take on.
again, I mean, listen to this guy just like doing what's best for his family. Most guys would be like, "Man, I've been doing this for a month or two already. Nah, you're done with school. I need you to be doing this, this, and this." This man's like, "Nah, she got a job already. Let's go and push it for 2 more months. I'll do it for 2 more months, and we'll figure it out." So that's awesome, dude. Now tell me this. I didn't even realize that she had accepted a position.
Mm-hmm.
Where's she at? Where's she gonna be at?
So there's a Beaufort Hospital. It's about 25 minutes from here. It's part of the ECU hospital network.
Mm-hmm.
She's in the emergency department.
Nice,
Uh, I
nice.
couldn't win the Wilmington.
Yeah, I
I
know.
couldn't win it.
Me and John we were banking for the Wilmington move, man. We were really banking on it. But hey, one day it'll be
Yeah,
there. One
yeah.
day.
Hopefully that's the next spot. But
Yeah, yeah.
happy for her. Shout out to her.
Shout out,
So
yeah. Shout out Hope, man. Shout out Hope. Nursing isn't easy. Haley is actually going through nursing school right now. She's in, I guess going into her second year
mm-hmm.
now. She's in the middle summer semester, but she'll be going. I guess I don't know if that starts the second year or not. But yeah, I mean, so she's literally probably where Hope was.
A year
What
ago.
literally
A
a
year
year
ago
ago,
today.
right? Yeah. So man, that's awesome, dude. That's crazy. Now, tell me about this, man. Before we go, because we're running on time right here.
Yeah.
The work is working out. Red Robin's, your little side piece for when you want some walking around money. But I see you grinding in another way as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can we talk about the LLC or
Yeah.
what?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
So John actually started an LLC about a month ago, right? It's been about a month or two now, right?
About a month or two. Yeah.
A
Something
month or
like
two.
that. March 25th is when they got established. That's right.
March 25th. And what is the name of your LLC, man? Just so the people know.
Yeah. So it's the name is NC Legacy Investments, and I can kind of dive into more what that means.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
So the original thought of this getting into the real estate world, right? So I wanted to start wholesaling, and for those who don't know, it's basically you find an off-market property, and you kind of like try to find a buyer for it. You get it under contract, try to find an end buyer, and you charge a fee for doing that,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that was the original intent, but that takes a lot of work, and not that work's a problem, but you have to like basically cold call these people who have no idea why you're calling them. You know you get a lot of pushback, like don't call me again. And I know as a person, like if somebody called me trying to sell me something, even though I'm not selling, I'm trying to buy. Um, I'll just hang up.
Yeah.
And then I face that a lot, and some people are built for that. I'm not. I either get mad or like I sympathize with them. Like I don't blame them, right? So I kind of switched gears a little bit. So I was like, well, the end goal always for me was having some rental properties, and
Yeah.
but that
I'd like
takes
to have something as well
right,
one day.
some
Yeah.
passive income. I don't want to have
Right.
to work 3 jobs forever, right? Or two
Right.
jobs, or whatever. So I actually recently purchased an investment property. Um, and going in, I thought I wanted to rent it, and it would actually make a great rental property. But because I don't have a lot of capital to keep buying other properties, the best deal for me right now is to actually flip this property. So that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm working on getting that property fixed up. Um, Learning a lot through it. That's really I want to get my money that I put into it back out,
Mm-hmm.
and hopefully a little bit on top, so I can go purchase something else to rent. But really, the biggest thing for me and biggest goal right now with this investment property is to just learn, because you can read about it all day long. I have a book that I read on it, but practical knowledge it wins. And
Yeah.
I've owned the property for a month. And I've just learned so much already. So like, what I want to do next time, or what I will do next time. Right?
Yeah.
So that's the end goal. So even if I don't make money on this property, I still won because I learned what not to do next time and what to do.
Properties. What was the location of the property again?
Properties in Newbern,
Newbern.
North Carolina.
Now tell me this: is it? What did you just pick Newbern, or was that like just like it was good out there? Like the pricing for picking up was good out there.
So that was the reason to purchase it, because the pricing was good, and because when I originally went in with the intent to rent it, the rental income was good there.
Right.
Looking at comparables, and for what I purchased it for and the rehab, it would have made sense. The lines would have connected, and uh, it would have worked out good. But how I actually find a property is on Facebook Marketplace with a wholesaler, right? So now I'm that end person that I just talked about, and he was selling property that he had under contract, and I was the end buyer. And I was like, I actually like this side of it more. I don't have to do the hard work. You have a property, we just negotiate on the price a little bit, make sure it looks out, everything checks out to me, and we go through the motions of buying it. And so
Yeah.
that's kind of what happened. It's a big project, probably a little bit bigger than I should have taken on for my very first one because the house is completely gutted, and there was some subfloor issues that I'm working through. The roof needed to be replaced, and so I'm working through that stuff right now. But like I said, learning, right? So
Yeah, for sure, man.
So yeah, that's kind of
Honestly, like I'm proud of you for even like jumping, making that jump to get there. That's the part that people go years
Yep.
and years and years without doing.
Yep.
And it puts them even further behind than where they would be if they would have not if they would have just jumped originally whenever they had the thought.
I agree, and the reason I say that is because I was actually talking to Hope when I was debating on even purchasing the property. I was like, I'm gonna do it, but it's a matter of when I'm gonna do it. And I was like, if I do it now, I'm scared now. But if I do it in 5 years, I'm still gonna be scared.
Still gonna be scared. Yep.
So I might as well just do it now, get it over with, and now I learned for 5 years. Hopefully in 5 years I'm flipping 3-4 houses a year.
Absolutely. And maybe have even a rental or two
exactly.
at that time.
So I was like, let me go and just rip this Band-Aid off, and just go through it. So we'll see how it goes. Stay tuned for in a couple months. Hopefully everything works out and get it going.
Yeah. Now tell me this. I seen you posting a few things about a few things you're needing. I think you said a plumber, HVAC. I'm assuming at some point in time you'll need these things.
Yep.
And then in the end, I'm sure at some point in time you need the lawn care as well. Are you putting out ads for the people like that over in the New Bern area?
Yeah. Specifically in New Bern, I made another post today. It's hard to find. You can find people who can do the work. That's not the issue. It's finding licensed people who can pull permits. Because in North Carolina, you have to get inspected for just about
everything.
So, there's some gray area where you can kind of get away with. But with my first flip, I'm not taking any chances. I want everything.
You don't want to have everything done and be right there about to open the door, and they're like, nope, can't do it.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly. So I had a couple HVAC guys. I was ready to go in my budget and everything, and they're not licensed.
Man.
So
that sucks, dude.
I got a licensed electrician. That worked out great.
So I don't know where this will reach or who it will reach or what area it will reach. But if we know anybody out there, in the New Bern area or surrounding area that is willing to help and is licensed,
Yeah,
is licensed. Make sure they're licensed. I don't need your uncle out here that's gonna do it for a 40 ounce and a pack of cigs. You know what I mean? I need like somebody who's licensed, knows what they're doing, is interested in helping, making money, and just helping push my guy right here to the next level. It's business. Business all around. I mean, it's not like we're asking for favors here. It's business all around. So in that area, New Bern surrounding area, if you guys are in that area, I'm gonna tag John's page. You got a page, right? I can't remember. You created one on Facebook, right?
For the
LLC.
Nah, I don't have one yet. Probably should do that.
Yeah.
Probably should, but no, I don't have one of those yet.
Either way, the LLC will be in the description. I'll also tag John's social media in there. And if you guys are interested in helping, or if you are licensed and you know somebody that's licensed, that can jump in and do that for us, then hey, he's looking, and it's only the beginning. Like I said, he's looking, and I mean, properties are all over. He's looking for them everywhere. So, man,
I know we're getting low on time. I got two things I gotta say.
Go, yeah, all for you. Go ahead.
I watched your last video with Drew.
Yeah.
I hear you talking about the Cowboys.
Oh.
I hear you talking. All right. First of all, that was the game we talked about going to Gillette was 2 years ago. They're going to Dallas this year, bro. Let's go.
Oh.
They're in October.
The Patriots are in.
They're going to Dallas.
Oh.
And let's put a jersey on it like we talked about.
We could put a jersey on it.
Y'all
right
this.
here, right?
Y'all hear this.
Hey,
let's do it.
We got a jersey on the. We got a jersey on the Cowboys Patriots game. The one we only played once this year, right?
Yeah.
So we got I got a jersey on that. Any whoever you want, and
let's do it.
Yeah, dude. But yeah, if we could make the trip.
I'll make it happen.
If we could make a trip, Drew hit me up the other day about the Panthers one, the Cowboys Panthers. I don't know what week that is. I hope it's not in October, because if it is,
that's a lot of.
I would much rather go to Texas than to Charlotte.
Have you seen the Cowboys play yet?
No, I've never seen the Cowboys play in person.
So this is just my personal preference. I said when I watch my favorite team play, I'm gonna watch it at home. So my very first Patriots game, I had opportunities to watch them in Carolina growing up. I was like, my first Patriots game was gonna be in Gillette, and so I made that happen. I try to go to a game every year now.
My first Miami Heat game was in Miami.
Yeah, and it's probably because the culture is different, right? Because that's your supporting team.
Way different, dude.
The loud.
God, I love being surrounded by other people that are in Miami jerseys. You know,
and just as passionate as you.
I hate going to the game and I'm like the only one in a Miami jersey, and everybody else is wearing Hornets jerseys. You know what I mean? So dude, it's definitely a different level. But man, October, let's set that up. Let's try to figure that out, because I'm down.
Yeah.
Never been to Texas. Never seen the Cowboys play. They play in Carolina like every 3-4 years or something like that. So I didn't get to ever see them really play. But I'm down, dude. That for sure, man. That's awesome.
So one more thing.
Yeah.
Before we end this.
Yeah, your own, bro.
So we talked about the wedding, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all this other stuff, all this other planning that we got going on. I want to do something a little different for Jay. On one of these videos, I don't think anything like this has happened before, to my knowledge. So give me 1 second. I gotta make something happen. All right. I planned. Remember how I said we had to sit right here?
Yeah.
I had plotted that for a reason. So I had something under the bed. So open that up for me, Jay.
Oh man. Hey, groomsmen. Hey, yo. This is crazy. Hold on, I gotta set the mic down. This is crazy, dude. What? Bro, heck yes, bro. What do you mean? Wait a minute.
Yep.
Dude. Haley messaged me the other day and was like, did you wear a basketball number or something like that? Yep. What the heck, dude? Oh my God. And shoes as well.
So the goal with this, right, is the day of the wedding, or maybe the day before, or whatever like that. I'm going to get my groomsmen and all that, and we're going to play some basketball. We're going to have our own jerseys, and I'm going to hopefully be able to run out of court and get some people to come play with us. And
dude,
we're going to have our team. So,
yes, bro, yes. Heck yeah, dude.
So,
will you take the court with me on my wedding day? Of course I will, bro. Heck yeah, dude. That's awesome. I appreciate it,
Yes,
man.
sir, man.
That's an honor,
Yes,
honestly.
sir.
I
Yes,
appreciate
sir.
it, dude. Man, that's so dope. I don't even know what else to say, dude. That's awesome. Wedding in 2025 is what we're looking at, right?
Yep. Yep.
Man, that's crazy. Dude,
Like I
thank you.
said, try to do something different.
Yeah,
Man. Try to
yeah.
do
No,
something.
that's awesome, dude. That's awesome. That's so cool, man. It's crazy. My sister's getting married next year, and I'm a groomsman in their
Oh,
wedding.
okay,
So
that's what's up. Are
yeah,
you
dude.
standing with her or with the?
No, I'm
The family?
standing. So I think the plan is that me and my cousin,
Mm-hmm.
that's like my brother, we're gonna walk her down the aisle and
Mm-hmm.
give her away, and then he's not a groomsman, but I am, so we're just gonna walk her down. I'm gonna stand on the side,
Got you.
where the groomsman would be at, you know.
Got you.
So, man, that's awesome. That's so
Yes,
cool,
sir.
dude. That's so cool, man. I appreciate it,
Yeah,
man.
man. No problem.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So yeah, Haley's been scheming for me. So.
Has she really? Like, how long has?
But she found out Monday, and she doesn't even know.
Okay.
She's just like, "What are you doing?" And I said, "You'll find out." And so
Oh
she
my.
honestly doesn't know. She said, "I can't wait." So
Oh man,
Haley
I'm
has no
hype.
idea.
I'm hype. I can't wait to tell her, dude. That's so cool. That's so
So
cool. Yeah, man. Well, before we go, man, I usually ask everyone this question their first time that they're on at your leisure. Um, and I've changed it up across the board a little bit. But for me to you, tell me this, John. What means more to you? To be loved or to be feared?
it's a good question. That's a deep question. I think it depends on your mentality, honestly. To me, I'd rather be loved, just because, like, I know I'm gonna. Depending on how you look at fear, right? Because fear could be subjective in many different ways. But you know, as we talked about, majority of this show, family is pretty much everything.
Right.
So if I got the love of my family, I know I can make anything happen.
Mm-hmm.
I can put fear in other people's heart, but what is that doing for me?
Right.
Right? You know what I mean? So that's
Right.
how I look at it.
I've asked that question a few times, and I've gotten a couple different answers. And from the other side going in, some people would say that they would rather there be, the fear, so that no one is ever afraid to cross them, or
Mm-hmm.
or things like that. And then I've heard it the same way that you said it just now. Personally, I mean, it's always going to be the love for me. You know, not I'm not. I don't care if anybody is scared or not scared, or
Right.
feared or not feared by my presence.
I'm gonna live my life.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I agree with you 100%. That's awesome, man. And I'm actually just like speechless. I don't know.
It's all good, man. That was the goal, man. I wanted it.
Yeah,
I didn't know
man.
when. I was trying to find the right spot. I was like, oh, should
He
we talk
did. He
about
kept
it?
saying right here, and I was like, "Is this gonna be a good spot?" And I was like, I guess it's a good spot,
Yeah, and I was like, oh, what point in the video do I say it? We talked about the. I was like, that'd be a good point, but I don't know how much left we got in the video.
No,
so,
yeah,
you know what I
yeah,
mean. So
yeah.
try to.
Man, that's awesome, dude. I
Yeah,
appreciate it a lot, man.
for sure.
I
You're
appreciate
the
it.
first one. Nobody else knows how I'm gonna do it, but you're actually gonna see one of my friends tonight. So don't mention this because
Okay.
he's gonna be one. And they probably know they're gonna be one, but they don't know how I'm gonna ask. No, you're the one that really just had no idea it was coming.
Right,
So,
right.
but yeah, you're the first one, and I thought this would be a perfect opportunity to do it, man.
Dude,
So,
for sure. No, absolutely, man.
so,
Absolutely. That's awesome, man. I appreciate it a lot. I appreciate you being on today, man.
yes, sir.
Appreciate you. By the way, we're in John's house. By the way, I didn't even really mention that. So I appreciate you letting us set up over
Yeah,
here,
definitely.
and do this today. And John's got a softball game later on, so that's what we're gonna head out and do. Then this man's going to mass, so we want to wish him safe travels on his trip over the weekend, man.
Thank you.
And a happy early Father's Day too, bro.
Appreciate you, man.
So,
Thank you.
yeah, man. Appreciate y'all. It's another episode of At Your Leisure, man.
Take it easy.
We'll see y'all.